Okay, so this is going to serve as a review of the grammar concepts that we have talked about in class. So the first thing that we talked about are sentences. So we talk about 3 things that we need to make a complete sentence. We need a subject. A subject is who or what we are talking about. So, in the sentence, Miss Carney likes pizza. Miss Carney is the subject because that is who we are talking about. When I say pizza is amazing, pizza is the subject because that is what we are talking about. So when we think about subjects, mostly we are talking about nouns. And nouns are a person, a place, or a thing. So that is something to keep in mind when we're talking about subjects. The next thing that we talk about, that we need a subject, and then we need a predicate. A predicate is going to be what describes what the subject is doing. Or it's going to answer what about the subject. It's going to describe it. For instance, when we go back here, the predicate of this sentence, Miss Carney likes pizza, is going to be likes. And the predicate of this sentence, pizza is amazing, is going to be is. Now, when we talk about complete predicates, we want to include all of it that is describing. So what does Miss Carney like? Miss Carney likes pizza. What is amazing? Pizza. That's a subject. Is amazing is the predicate. So when we think about predicate, we are thinking about a verb. It is describing an action. The easiest way to find the subject and predicate is to find the action and then ask who or what is doing that action. And finally, your sentences need to make sense. So whatever the sentence is describing, it has to make sense. So we're going to go ahead and look at these, and we're going to identify if it's a complete sentence or if it's a fragment. Now, a fragment is a group of words that does not express a complete thought. So it could either be a subject, it could be a predicate, but it is not a complete sentence because it doesn't meet the criteria that we set. Whoops. So we're going to go ahead and read each group of words, and then we're going to determine if it is a sentence, and if it is a sentence, we are going to add the proper punctuation mark. If it's not a complete sentence, we're going to write fragment. So my mother walked into the kitchen. So I'm going to think back on the 3 things that I need to look for. I need a subject, which I'm going to underline in blue. So, my mother. And then I need a predicate. What is my mother doing? She walked into the kitchen. So, a subject, a predicate, and it makes sense. My mother walked into the kitchen. So, I am going to end the sentence with a period. And then I'm going to move on. Looked out the window. So, looks like we have an action. Looked. What are we looking out of? Out of the window. But who or what is looking out the window? That we don't know. So that tells me that we are dealing with a fragment. One of my sisters. So this looks like it's a subject. But what about one of my sisters? I'm not giving you a predicate. I'm not giving you an action. So this sentence is missing a verb. One of my sisters, what are they doing? So since we're missing that, this is also going to be a fragment. What were they looking at? So they is going to be the subject. Predicate, looking at. So what were they looking at? That makes sense. Now I'm going to make sure that I have the proper punctuation here. So I'm going to end the sentence with a question mark because this is a question. A deer stood in the yard. Stood is the action. In the yard, stood in the yard is the predicate. Who or what is standing in the yard? A deer. So I have a subject, I have a predicate, and it makes sense. So this is a complete sentence. Now, because this is a statement, it's not asking a question and it's not expressing a strong emotion. I'm going to end the sentence with a period. Underneath the apple tree. Underneath the apple tree. Well, it seems like we're describing the apple tree. But what about the apple tree? What is happening at the apple tree? Well, we are missing that. So it's because we are missing crucial information, it doesn't meet our criteria to be a complete sentence. This is going to be a fragment. We watched quietly. The subject, we. What are we doing? We watched quietly. This is a complete sentence. I'm going to end it with a period. The deer looked up. The subject, the deer, looked up. It makes sense. That's a statement. It's a period. Did it see us? So it is the subject. See us is the predicate. We are asking a question. So we're going to end with a question mark, and this is a complete thought because we have a subject, we have a predicate, and it makes sense. Ran off across the lawn. Who or what ran across the lawn? This is only a predicate. We are missing a subject, so this is going to be a fragment. Remember, the key difference is that a fragment does not express a complete thought. So, remember the three things that we need to make a complete sentence. We need a subject. Who or what are we talking about? We need a predicate. What are they doing? And it has to make sense. This is where we're going to leave off today. I hope that you guys have a little bit of a better understanding. This is what we are working on today in class.